Oh, what up, y'all? I said, what up? Oh, shit. I'm getting everything wet. Now, that's spraying too much. I done got the phone wet. But you know what? It's going to be wet. How about that?
Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hit his side of the story. So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Everybody hit that like button. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Romney. Welcome to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships. So here's a question for you, and it's one that comes up. Isn't gray rocking just stonewalling? Let's take that on because there's a lot of confusion about this. Gray rocking, right? Gray rocking is a tricky technique. It works, doesn't always work. I'm not even always a fan. I actually, though, really like gray rocking in writing. Less so in sort of in person or when we're talking to someone, but I like it in writing. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. Let's just have a basic review of gray rocking, though. Gray rocking as a disengagement and management technique for narcissistic people. It's a way to keep interacting with them without getting drawn into their baiting and their word salad and their gaslighted frenzy. Gray rocking has traditionally been something that's suggested to folks who are in inescapable narcissistic relationships, such as co-parenting of minor children, workplace relationships and for jobs they can't get out of, and some family relationships. Gray rocking is exactly what it sounds like. You make yourself as disengaged, as forgettable, and as dull as a gray rock. It entails brief answers and little emotion. Things like yes, no, sure, okay, things like that. It can work during a short interaction with a narcissistic person that you don't need to see very often. Perhaps with someone in the workplace who's narcissistic or is antagonistic that you don't have to constantly engage with, right? But you do it from time to time. But in the day-to-day, gray rocking may cause more harm than good for you. So let's take on the premise of this video, because this is something, this assertion that it's just stonewalling is something that I have seen happen to clients and other survivors of narcissistic relationships who have had to manage narcissistic people, and they use gray rocking. So they gray rock, right? And they get accused of stonewalling. Let's talk a little bit about stonewalling. Stonewalling is stopping communication. And it includes territories such as the silent treatment. Gray rocking is not the silent treatment, right? You are responding meaningfully. You're just giving very brief and unemotional answers. But when you do a deeper dive into stonewalling, it gets tricky. Because there are some assumptions. Stonewalling, by definition, is supposed to reflect discomfort about discussing feelings or emotions, being dismissive, refusing to answer or respond, not making eye contact, or doing nonverbal things like nodding, or even doing things like storming out of a conversation when the person doesn't like it. Frankly, that sounds like what narcissistic people do. It doesn't sound like gray rocking. But gray rockers are often accused of stonewalling because remember, once you start gray rocking a narcissistic person, you are no longer really giving them supply. You are not getting into the confusing, circular arguments where they can dominate and overpower. You are not falling for the baiting where they can put you in a subordinate position and leave you confused. Basically, you are no longer playing their toxic ground game. You aren't not answering or responding, right? If they ask you, are you going to pick up the kids today? I'm going to be working late, and then I have a dinner with some friends, and I've had to reschedule this dinner like 5 times because you never help enough with picking up the kids from school. Let's assume in this example.
Okay, I love Dr. Ramani. And I love the narcissist talk. But let me just tell you something. Narcissism is out the box now. I'm sorry. It's out the box. There are people who are not clinically diagnosed as NPD, right? Narcissistic personality disorder, that actually gray rock in their relationships. Tell me I'm wrong. Are you trying to tell me you ain't got the one-word answers? Yes. No. Or what about a 2-word answer? I'm good. I'm straight. Yeah. We're normal folk who have narcissistic tendencies. There's a distinct difference between someone who is clinically diagnosed with NPD, right? Narcissistic personality disorder, and someone who has several narcissistic tendencies. And I believe that none of this stuff is hard and fast. None of this stuff is, happening in a bubble. Oh, only narcissists do that. No, people are doing this to each other. People are gray rocking in relationships. And then I found out there's another one, yellow rocking. The yellow rock method is a spin on the gray rock method. It involves, now tell me folks ain't doing this. It involves adding some niceties to gray rock communication when co-parenting with a narcissist. Now, of course, they're going to say when co-parenting with a narcissist. What if you've already made up your mind that you want out of this relationship? You're just looking for the best time to tell him. You're looking to gain some strength to tell him or her that you're ready to go. And then you shift into yellow rocking. And then finally into gray rocking. I know something's up. Talk to me. What's going on? Let's have a conversation. No, I'm good. I'm straight. Everything is okay. See, we try to sequester this thought or this tactic to just narcissists. But no, this is happening in everyday relationships, right? How many of you try to nice your way out of a relationship? That's yellow rocking, right? Try gray rocking them to sleep. An intriguing look, right, at revolutionary ways to cause a narcissist to lose interest. To some degree, we're all lightweight narcissists, right? Wherever there is a maladaptive, i.e., an insecure attachment style, there will be a need for a supply of some sort, just like a narcissist. The only thing that separates the rest of us from narcissists is this. People, wounded and all, who have been through a lot, still have empathy. See, when you look at a narcissist, what you're actually looking at, I don't know if you guys are fans of the Star Trek television show with Captain Jean-Luc Picard, right? I think it was called New Generation or something. A New Generation Star Trek. Ran in the 90s. Had a nice little long run. When you're looking at a narcissist, what you're actually looking at, a good way to see a narcissist is to think of the character Data. Data. Next Generation Star Trek. That's what it was called. Next Generation. Right? Look at the character Data. Data functions like a human, but he's an android. He literally has no feelings. That's a narcissist. They have no feeling. They cannot empathize. Okay? That's a narcissist. Now, but the difference, Data was an android. Narcissists are humans. So narcissists, in a vampiric kind of way, feed on supply. It could be drama. It could be admiration. It could be validation. It could be approval. It could be acknowledgement. It could be whatever. It's just gimme, gimme, gimme your attention. And they have a ravenous appetite for it and a bottomless soul. So they're never full on it. Do you understand? So just imagine a vampiric kind of Data, right? Try gray rocking them to sleep. This is why gray rocking has been considered an effective method for, getting the narcissist to lose interest, right? Because if there's no source of attention, of admiration, acknowledgement, approval, aggrandizement, you're not pedestalizing them. And what am I doing here? I've got other sources of supply, right? The gray rock method is a strategy for protecting yourself from abusive or toxic friends, partners, co-workers, or family members. We do this to our mamas when our mama be tripping. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it with her. I'm just gonna be nice. I ain't gonna say nothing. Mamas or daddy, or brother, or sister, or cousins, whomever it may be. But I don't want you guys to hear this term and think, oh, this is something new. This is something we've been doing when we are tired of somebody. Gray rocking them. Okay? This method theorizes that when dealing with an emotionally abusive, toxic, or narcissistic person, withholding your reactions can put a stop, they think, can put a stop to their behaviors. If you show no emotion, they won't get the thrill or enjoyment out of their harmful behavior. It's important to note that the people or the person may get very upset when you withhold your reactions. How many times does that happen with a non-narcissistic person? I can remember with my ex being frustrated with her to the point where I was like, I don't really have a space to say what I need to say. I don't really have a space, to feel like if I expound on anything, it will be respected and or accepted. So what did I do? I limited what I had to say. And it was immediately acknowledged like, oh, so you're not talking now? Oh, I see your energy is different. I get it. I understand. So we do this. Neither one of us are narcissistic, but we do this, right? So I don't want you guys to get like, bamboozled to think that, this is a new way. We've been doing this for the longest. When we tired of somebody, we shut it down. And that's what this is. But what they're saying is, if in fact you are dealing with a narcissist, please expect a reprisal. What is gray rocking and how is it different from passive aggressive tactics like stonewalling? Is gray rocking a necessary evil when it comes to dealing with toxic people? I have spoken to so many brothers who are upset at their baby mama for one reason or another, or so many sisters who are upset at their baby's father for one reason or another. And the basic tactic is to keep it short and simple. That's it, right? True or false? The gray rock method is only necessary for times when you absolutely have to deal with toxic individuals, i.e. within the workplace, family members. Can't break up with them, or can you? I think we're breaking up with family nowadays, right? Family members, professional and or social circles, etc. Why do self-love deficient individuals, SLDs, struggle with letting go of toxic relationships, even though they're being drained of valuable resources such as time, energy, money, mental well-being, emotional well-being? Why is it so difficult for codependents to let folk go? When we come forward, the voice of reason, opening up the phone lines. Have you had to gray rock somebody? Have you yellow rocked? Gray rocking with a little nicety put on top. I want to know your thoughts. Have you dealt with toxic family members? Do you have toxic family members? Do you have toxic people you work with in the job site? I want to know toxic exes. I want to know how you deal with them. And have you ever heard of gray rocking? Yo, 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 yo. What up, y'all? Y'all in the building. Hit the like button, And you already know this is a conversation. I want to talk to y'all. This is a conversation. Can we talk to each other? Can we talk to each other? I want to talk to y'all. That's what the setup is for, so you can understand the context of what we're talking about. But it doesn't matter if we're not talking. I want to talk to y'all. So get to your phone lines. Call me right now. 1-800-920-1580. Talk to your brother. Let's get down to it. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. You better speak on it, Harvey Dent. Hey, Jack Brazen, call in. My brother, Russell, Dr. Russell, Dr. Russell Harrison is in the building. Hey, I want everybody to wish Dr. Russell a happy birthday. His birthday was a couple of days ago. Dr. Russell is in the chat. Can everybody in here say happy birthday, Dr. Russell? Say what's up to Dr. Russell from russellherbals.com. Everybody, holla at Dr. Russell right now. Give him a birthday shout. Come on, man. Shout out Dr. Russ. That's one of our living legends. If you don't know, go to russellherbals.com. Listen, that's one of our living legends. Do you understand? The brother's on the same level as Dr. Sabi. If you don't know, you should know. And listen, man, man, nobody was talking about Nipsey until Nipsey died. And rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. But he became a legend after he died. And I think that's unfair because that was an amazing, intelligent, powerful spirit. We need to get down with our people while they're here. Give them their flowers now. Don't wait until something tragic happened to be like, oh, damn, so you used to talk about Dr. Russell all the time. Dr. Russell is alive and well and doing well. And y'all should say what's up to the brother. Sending love. Thank you to all. That's what I'm talking about, Dr. Russell. We love you, brother. We love you, man. Yo, we doing good on the likes, but we could do better. Like it up, like it up, like it up.
Some people really get in our hair. Moreover, there are individuals that, for some reason, take delight in getting emotional reactions out of others. When they succeed, they win, and their ability to hurt gives them a sense of power. Whether we call them toxic people, narcissists, psychopaths, people like these are very tough to deal with. However, there's a controversial method to handle such individuals. An effective way to deal with people that are destructive to our lives is avoiding them. Walking away and going no contact are great tools that not only cut them out of our lives, but also give them the opportunity to reflect. And even though the chances are small, they might consider changing their behavior for the better. Unfortunately, in some cases, walking away isn't an option. We can avoid people to some extent, but when we have to deal with them on a regular basis because of work, cohabitation, or shared custody, we will benefit from other ways to cope with their behavior. In 2013, a psychology blogger named SKILLZ first coined the term Grey Rock Method as a way to deal with psychopaths. The goal of the Grey Rock Method is to encourage psychopaths or other emotionally unbalanced people to lose interest in us. I quote,
When contact with you is consistently unsatisfying for the psychopath, his mind is retrained to expect boredom rather than drama. Psychopaths are addicted to drama and they can't stand to be bored. With time, he will find a new person to provide drama, and he will find himself drawn to you less and less often. Eventually, they just slither away to greener pastures. End quote. According to SKILLZ, psychopaths are addicted to power. They try different tactics to get a reaction out of their targets, to fuel their sense of power over them. When they succeed, they are exhilarated. They have found a way to control us. In most cases, this isn't a one-time event. When these people discover that they can pull our strings, they'll keep doing it. Even if it's just for the confirmation that they still have control over us. Our reaction is their pride.
Very interesting. We have more questions. How does John Bowlby's attachment theory relate to the propensity of self-love deficient, i.e. codependence, to remain in toxic relationships? What role does trauma play in the decision to employ the gray rock method? Right? How might Babette Rothschild's work on trauma in the body inform our understanding of why people might need to use gray rocking? How does the concept of emotional safety, as described by Ross Rosenberg's influence, right? How does that influence one's openness to use gray rocking tactics? Like, gray rocking is a type of language, right? It's a kind of minimalist language that is used. I've been telling my son since he was a kid, like, you cannot convert, convince, or cajole an unwilling ear. I said, stop explaining so much. Give the necessary amount of information and leave it there, right? Unless asked, right, for more. Just leave it there. Stop explaining so much. Can withholding information be a symptom of insecure attachment style, as described by Mary Ainsworth? What are the psychological effects of living with a mask in intimate relationships? And how does this relate to gray rocking? How does the fear of judgment influence the decision to use or avoid gray rocking techniques? Now, please understand, across the board, avoidance creates conflict. So gray rocking is actually communicating, right, without explaining, without giving too much, right? That's interesting. It's communicating almost without communicating. How you do today? Good. Did you eat? Yes. Are you going somewhere later? Nope. The narcissist or the toxic person is like, where's the drama? I'd like to have some drama, please. When I come forward, the voice of reason going to the phone lines, get in here and tell me how you deal with your toxic people. Did you eat is underappreciated? Get in here. I want to hear your thoughts. Hey, Rev, I'm coming right to you, Reverend L. I got to hear Truemonger. Truemonger sounds like a natural gray rocker. Please provide a small serving of drama. What up, Question H? Get to your phone lines, 1-800-920-1580. What up, though? Hey, it's 54 people in here. Can we get every last one of y'all to drop a 5 spot on your brother's Cash App. I'd appreciate it if you could do it. Drama is draining. Drama is draining. Listen, Kenny, switch that up. Drama is draining for the immature soul. Somebody meme that shit. Drama is only draining for the immature soul. Jesus? Anybody? Peace be still? The eye of the storm? Anybody? We got to stop normalizing bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit out there. Drama is draining, yes, for the immature soul. For the soul that hasn't conquered itself, it's exceedingly draining. See, when you get to a certain level of consciousness, nothing bothers you. Do you think you could reach self-realization and some drama will fuck with you? Let me say it another way. Do you think you can reach God realization and some bullshit around you will take you off of that? Do you see what I'm saying? It's such a foreign notion, right? It's such a foreign ideation to say, oh, I'm at a certain level of consciousness to where I'm not bothered. Do you know motherfuckers who talk this I'm not bothered shit be bothered? They be really bothered. See, it's easy to post unbothered, but motherfuckers be bothered. See, if you're not bothered, you don't bother posting. Exactly. Eddie, I know you. I be bothered sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we live in a world, man, where we got a lot of little catchphrases, you know, triggered, all that. Everybody, please go to my Cash App. Send a 5 spot. $ Zoe what Netter. We only got one caller on the line. Unacceptable. 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 Get to your phone lines. You know you want to talk about it. Drama is meth for the soul. Love it. Life or death, no gray area. That's black and white thinking, James Blank. And that's really not a healthy way to live life. It's either this or that. Life is gray. Life is not black and white. Hey, man, I love y'all for being in here. Can we hit the like button? The like button? This topic right up my alley. Very, very relatable. Was just taking care of some business. Sorry I'm late. No worries. Let me tell you now. $, Zoe What Netter. Can somebody post my Cash App in there for Captain T?
Today's episode is going to be about gray rocking the narcissist, and from my perspective, how I would combat it if you came at me being the self-aware narcissist. So, if you don't know what gray rocking is, it's the technique of becoming like a rock. I don't know who coined the term, or where it came from and whatnot. Only thing I know from TikTok and Instagram and whatnot, it is, becoming boring, like giving generic answers, minimizing contact, and not engaging with a narcissist or a toxic person. Look, I say or toxic person because I know everybody's not a narcissist. I know. Trust me, I know. But I am. So I can speak on it. Yay. So, gray rocking. If a narcissist is trying to engage with you and you just give them answers like, yeah, sure, okay, sounds good, that's great, oh no, just see how bland it was, just how boring it was. That's exactly the purpose of gray rocking, is to not engage. Because when you engage with a narcissist, you are giving them all the power. If you react negatively to a narcissist, you are giving them all the power because they love it. They just sitting there sucking it up like power, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, how Goku just sucks all the energy in for his spirit bomb and just unleashes it on you.
But here's my pushback. I don't believe people are just doing this to narcissists. I think people are doing this in their everyday relationships. And that's where I believe the most damage is done. Most people, listen, do you know what the number one factor for having a healthy relationship is? I've asked this question for over 20 years. You know what people say? They'll money, they'll say communication. The number one rule for having a healthy relationship or a thriving relationship is conflict management skills. And most people don't have conflict management, good ones anyway. You know why? Because most people come from a situation that probably had only a couple of tools in their conflict management toolbox, right? They only know the way they were shown how to deal with conflict. So most people will use avoidant strategies to not actually handle things that need to be dealt with. And the things that need to be dealt with, tough conversations, right? With human beings who may get emotional, who might fly off the handle, who might raise their voice, who might even use profanity or insults. Right? We're not used to dealing with folks like that. So what happens is we put the arbitrary, this is toxic label on it, instead of saying this is what human beings with limited psychological resources do. And of course, it's easy for me to say that because I'm knee deep in psychology and reading books and studying and all of this and that. But the reality of it is, Maybe that should be par for the course if you want to be in a relationship with someone, right? The gray rock method is more than just a strategy to neutralize the emotional charge in toxic relationships. It is the manifestation of survival in the psychological backgrounds shaped by narcissists or toxic folk. At its core, gray rocking is a deliberate act of emotional disarmament. But we're doing this to each other even when we're not narcissists. We're doing this when we're mad. We're doing this when we're disappointed. We're doing this when we're let down. We're doing this when the image of who we thought you were cracked. Tell me I'm lying. 1-800-920-1580. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Reverend L, Dallas, Texas. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
What's going on, Brother Zoe?
I'm alive and well, brother. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm going to touch on a few little pieces real quick, man. The gray rock. I heard the term some time ago, and I did some research on it, and I had kind of put myself into do our gray rock. And I don't even do that gray rock, and I had to think about it. So I've never been that person to gray rock because people need to know the truth. They need to know the raw and tactful truth. When you tell somebody the truth with no emotion, just raw truth, it sticks with them and it stays with them and it stings also. So, you know, a lot of times people don't like to hear the truth. They just want to go ahead and they're analyzing how you're telling them things versus what you're telling them. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the message. Now, a lot of people I know now, they don't really gray rock as much as they stonewall. And the stonewall kind of is like where people ghost people and all this other stuff. They don't want to put up with the situation of dealing with somebody that's probably been toxic or a situation that they've been in. They just ghost them. Mm-hmm. So it's a temporary situation because they feel like they're winning. And they're like, again, this is just my philosophy on it. When they ghost people, it's temporary. So I don't have to answer the phone. I'm going to block them, all this other good little stuff. But when you do come across that person, then all those feelings that you suppressed and all those things that you want to say and all this other stuff kind of rush right back. Mm. So then you start the broken process all over again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let me do this. Let me do this real quick because you mentioned stonewalling. For the people listening, stonewalling is a way of withdrawing from a conversation or interaction, either verbally or non-verbally, to avoid conflict or uncomfortable topics. It can happen intentionally or unintentionally and can be a form of emotional abuse that can harm relationships. Finish your thought.
So along with that part, like I said, that's another thing that you just mentioned. When people gray rock, this is just my opinion on looking at it. When people gray rock, they want to, they kind of match the energy in a way, you know, because that person is there that narcissist person is trying to chip away. They're trying to talk and trying to figure out how to get under your skin and try to get you to do something that they want you to do or get you to feel a certain type of way. And you have to protect your energy. I'm a believer in not matching energy. I'm a believer in protecting your energy. Because if you protect your energy, you know, you have to build yourself up to kind of prevent these type of situations. Because these narcissist type people, they're going to hit you all types of ways, up, down, sideways. They're going to hit you with everything. And also, another avenue is, I understand why some people gray rock, because a lot of people are non-confrontational. So non-confrontational people, they just, oh yeah, yeah, oh I understand. They're just giving those random cues and hoping that the narcissist catches on, like, okay, I'm tired of it's not working. I'm just tired of talking to them and hoping that it goes away, and it doesn't.
So wait, there's two pieces. You got two pieces out here that I have to address. The first piece is people don't like hearing the truth. I'm gonna push back just a little bit. I think how it's better stated, people don't like hearing your truth. Okay, I think that should be it. Because when you tell somebody the truth about themselves, first off, one of the flaws of psychology is a psychologist cannot see inside your head or understand your experience from your perspective. They can only translate it based off of the stories you tell. So when you get somebody saying this is the truth and you can't handle it, that is already an incendiary comment for an intelligent person, right? You can't say you don't want to hear the truth. Some people don't like to. First off, you don't have the truth. All you have is your perspective, sir. No disrespect to you, though, of course. I'm simply saying this is where a lot of us get tripped up in the conflict, right? Because they will present their perspective as the truth. You can say, from your perspective, that's what it may look like, but I'm the one experiencing this, and I can tell you, as the only me there is, your perspective is off. It's askew. It's a jar, right? And you'll disagree and we'll go back and forth, right? So I don't fall for that. People don't like the truth. No, people don't like your perception of them. And I think it's best to say it that way or frame it as this is my truth that I'm presenting to you. This is what it looks like from where I stand. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm noting that down.
Wait, stay with me because you cooking right now. And every time you say something, you open up another labyrinth of information. When we come forward, we going back to Dallas, Texas. It's on fire tonight. Nah, because folk be on that. Most people can't handle the truth. Be like, what truth you got? Are you using the mind of God to ascertain the absolute truth, or are you speaking from your perspective? And I think when we're dealing with intelligent people and intelligent conversation, we have to frame things that way. From my vantage point, it looks as if blah, blah, blah. Right? From my perspective, I think what you're saying or what you're exhibiting to me could mean blah, blah, blah. Nah, you got people. I had somebody tell me that you don't like the truth. And I'm like, what truth do you have? Quantify your truth. I can respect what you're saying. And, if it's, coming from my perspective, this is what it looks like. And then you say, oh, okay, I can understand how it could look that way. I've heard it before. I've heard everything before. What up, y'all? Get to your phone lines. We only got Brother Reverend L on the line. What's going on? Them not caring about your truth gets revealed. Love that. Love that. What up, Pretty Brown Mimi? Love that. That was a bottom of the net corner 3 right there. What do you mean, Jack? So we're not going to get nobody to call in? Is that what it is? The truth is my muscles are hurting like a motherfucker. That workout yesterday, and that's funny. I am your mind, or oral conversations only to be contested. Then it never occurred. Grateful they work. Great point. /shot. Got you. Everybody hit the like button. We're doing great on the likes. We only got 8 people who haven't hit the like button. Yo, we doing a great job. Me tired. Yeah, we all tired. Child. I'm taking a sabbatical from men. Just listen. What? Please call in. No, Mimi, you got to call in and tell me. Please talk to me. Listen, Mimi, talk to me. I want to hear this. Please call me and share this. Please call me and share this. 2 more likes. Oh, we done passed the likes. Good job. Well, no, we got, yes, we there. Thank you for the likes. And don't forget, please support the channel. You could do it a couple of ways. You can super chat, which is the $ down at the bottom of the chat, or you can send it directly to my Cash App. I'm not going to try to convince her out of it. Not at all. Call in, Mimi. I'd like to talk to you about this. I want to know your perspective.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. This week I want to talk about being reactive. I love this topic because I think a lot of us need practice with this because we're not taught how to do this. We're not even aware that we are reactive to people. You really have to learn self-mastery in life, and you really have to learn the ability to have self-control over your emotions, because you're reacting to essentially an emotional trigger. You're reacting to someone who is toxic and negative, and the more you react, the more you're going to actually get into the ring with this person. They're going to drain your energy, deplete you, cause you to feel stress, fear, anxiety, etc. So we want to learn how to be able to handle ourselves when we are dealing with any type of people that are toxic or unhealthy. Now, before we do get into this week's video, if you're new to my channel, my name is Stephanie. I am a life and relationship coach, and if you have not already subscribed, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below and click on post notifications. So let's get into being reactive, because I want you to understand why we are reactive to people. So when someone says something hurtful, they do something hurtful, they make that little comment that tries to cut you at your knees, they try to give you a little bit of manipulation, a little bit of guilt, and if you're not aware that someone's even giving you that little bit of shade, that they're hurting you, that they're saying those things to kind of try to get at you or cut you, then this video probably is too advanced for you. We need to start back with you being self-aware to recognize when someone is doing something or saying something that's making you feel off. But if you understand that this person in your life typically says these things, tries to cut you, uses guilt, uses manipulation, whatever the emotional abusive tactic is that they try to use on you, if you understand, okay, mom typically does this, or my ex-husband typically does that, then what you want to understand is that the reason why they're doing this is because they're not getting what they want. They want something from you, which is control. They want to get something out of the situation. You're not conforming. You're not giving them what it is that they need, because you're kind of saying, okay, what works best for me? What do I think? How do I feel? What can I give? What should I be doing right now? Because you're very self-loving to say, hold on, I'm not going to just be codependent and just conform and give and give and give. I'm going to actually start stopping and asking myself, do I want to do that? Should I do it? Is it even good for me to be doing this right now? How do I actually feel about this? Versus me always being the giver in life. Because you are either that person or you have learned.
This is heavy stuff tonight. I need y'all to understand how heavy this is. Being knee deep in this information, you know what it's taught me? Everybody is hurting. Stonewalling, gray rocking, yellow rocking, or whatever term you give it, right? These are all modalities, techniques to navigate the toxicity of others in an attempt to protect your own. Oof, I know you don't want to hear it put that way, but this is exactly, this is a snapshot of how humanity navigates each other. Oh, they're toxic. Let me stonewall, or let me gray rock, or let me yellow rock, just so you can get past the difficult moment. Let me avoid. But it never really addresses the situation, right? And then at the same time, we'll turn around and parrot some famous philosopher. You know, relationship is a mirror. But then when you get an unsatisfactory experience, you go right to victimhood. Why did they do that to me? Do you see? We don't say, you know, a part of me is unhealed, and that relationship served as a mirror for me to see it because I lost sight of it within me. That's heavy, right? The audacity to turn around and then say, some people can't handle the truth. 1-800-920-1580. Get in here, Reverend. I'm just poking at you a little bit. Talk to me.
Okay, I want to address something I saw in the comment, and this is just my philosophy about the gray rock.
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone said they're taking a sabbatical from men. Completely understand. I personally think that's a great idea because she can see if it's the men that's the problem or if she's the problem. I'm speaking from experience because I know when I used to deal with the HOs, I was, I'm going to leave them alone, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And it wasn't the HOs, it was me.
How about it? Because you were self-reflecting, right?
I was self-reflecting. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to hear it at first. I didn't want to feel it. But it was me.
So let me just say this. A sabbatical without self-reflection is just merely
Pointless.
is pointless. It's merely a timeout. Go ahead.
So you got to test yourself. You got to check your temperature of yourself because you can gray rock yourself. Because you're the toxic person. You don't want to deal. You know what? You know I ain't really that bad. You know everybody else tripping. It ain't me. It's them. But when you're at home at night and you lay your head on that pillow, you know the truth. You don't want to address it. But you know the truth.
No, for real. You got to stay with me because you just said some people gray rock themselves, and we know this. Man, stay with it. Don't go nowhere. Reverend L. Ratchet from Dallas, Texas is in here acting a complete fool. When we come forward, more from the good Rev. That was a bar, Reverend. Look at my face. That was, boy. Let me ask you a question. This is off topic. Have you ever not slept in your bed? I mean, you're at home, but you haven't slept in your bed. Like, have you ever took a couple of weeks off from sleeping in your bed? Just a question. I want to know. Stay woke. That's funny. No, seriously. Have you ever just took some time away from your bed? I am right now, actually. You know what's interesting? When you get back in your bed, that motherfucker feel good. That bed feel good than a ma. I haven't been sleeping in my bed for like a month. You know, I'll be on my couch or laying on my living room floor, you know, watching TV, you know. Man, I laid in my bed this morning. I said, well, goddamn. I'm tripping. Yeah. Man, I had for just I'm in there working and I just don't get up and go into bed. Man, I got into bed this morning. That motherfucker felt wonderful. I was like, what in the world? It happens. And I'm telling you guys, my masterclass is still up. You guys want to see it? Go get it.
Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't his, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like the kids. This gonna be rolled down.
You told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my lip.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man moves on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
So William,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Romney. So we always have lots of people talking about emotional regulation, emotional regulation. Let's talk a little bit about that. One thing we know is that narcissistic people cannot emotionally regulate. And one of the biggest problems, and I'd say the biggest issues in narcissistic relationships originate from the fact that narcissistic people are so dysregulated. They either scream and yell if they don't get their way, or they give you the silent treatment. And long story short, that is how we end up with the eggshell walking, the balancing on a razor that characterizes just about every antagonistic or narcissistic relationship. If you have been in a narcissistic relationship for long enough, or you grew up with a narcissistic parent, you never really got healthy models of regulation. And as a result, raging, screaming anger can become normalized, or any form of anger can become terrifying. Alternately, your fears of abandonment may have been stoked by a parent who expressed their anger through withholding or withdrawal anytime the parent didn't get their way. So from a very early age, you became masterful at completely and utterly catering to the needs of other people. So that may leave you wondering, if all I've ever seen, or most of what I see, is dysregulation or unhealthy regulation, what exactly does healthy regulation look like? Now, if you've never really been in a relationship where that is happening, or you even struggle with it yourself, that may be a big question. By and large, most survivors of narcissistic and antagonistic relationships overregulate. You keep it all bottled up, right? And that definitely is going to take a toll on your physical and your mental health. It's not a bad strategy, right? There's no point in speaking out in the relationship, so the overregulation may be the only way to stay safe, and in fact, speaking out may even make things worse. So maybe for a lifetime, you learn to push it all down, and even find that you're not even able to cry or let out emotion in any way, and you may feel quite distanced from how you feel or even what you're allowed to feel. But that, again, begs the question of what this video is about. What exactly then qualifies as healthy regulation? Here are some thoughts on that. In a person who is healthily regulated, you actually express the emotion appropriately. You give yourself permission to identify the emotion and to respond to it. Maybe you'll cry if you're sad. Take a break and maybe some time to work to yourself, to work through some anger. Laughing when you're happy and you're able to articulate the emotion. I feel really angry right now. And then articulate what you need. Like, I just need a minute to sit with this. Though, got to keep this in mind. Just because you regulate and express emotion, it doesn't mean that the other person you're with will either hear it right or cooperate. But whether you do it alone or with someone else or in a place where you can share it, you name it, you express it, you feel it, you process it. Not any way you want, that's what I mean by the sort of appropriate, but you express it, you feel it. The second way is you recognize that your emotion is yours, and it may not necessarily be someone else's. Healthy regulation means owning your emotion as your emotion. Sort of this idea of, I feel this, but I recognize that someone...
Can I just simplify? Be what you're seeking. Owning your emotions as your own. Be what you're seeking. You're going to always be dysregulated when your answer is coming from outside of you. Be what you're seeking. We live in such a greedy society. Everybody wants to receive something from the other in order to feel okay. Be what you're looking for in another. Listen, Sri Yukteswar, the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda. Ordinary love is selfish, darkly rooted in desires and satisfactions. Sounds like maladaptive attachment styles. Okay, divine love is without condition, without boundary, without change. The flux of the human heart is gone forever at the transfixing touch of pure love. This is some guru who sat in a cave who experienced it for real. We don't know how to experience it because Romney said it. We didn't model it in childhood. We didn't model divine love, unconditional love. We had broken parents as the potter. And they had cheap clay when they molded us. They had the cheapest clay you can buy. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm simply telling you what we've done is created a labyrinth of ideas and constructs to maneuver toxicity while protecting our own toxic wounds. Yes, the unhealed wound in your spirit is a form of toxicity. I gotta find the right one to be able to deal with how I'm set up. Be what you want. I don't know how to do. Of course you don't. Human conduct is ever unreliable until man is anchored in the divine. Everything in the future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. Most of us do not see relationships as spiritual. That's Sri Yukteswar, right? The guru of Paramahansa Yogananda. Who is Paramahansa Yogananda? He is the author of the world-renowned book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. The Autobiography of a Yogi. The only book that was on Steve Jobs' iPad. Sri Yukteswar, or Swami, said this: forget the past. The vanished lives of all men are dark with many shames. Human conduct is ever unreliable until anchored in the divine. Everything in the future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. Forget the past. That's your attachment style. You don't know how to forget the past because the past is who you are. So if you find somebody that's incompatible with your wounds, I'm sorry to say it, but that's who we're trying to find. Somebody that's compatible with the hurt in us. And if we don't find them, we're going to stonewall, we're going to gaslight, we're going to gray rock, whether they're narcissists or not. We're going to yellow rock. We're going to do all the rocking we need to do so we can do some rolling. All right. Let me get my brother back in here because Reverend L was on complete fire. Reverend, please give me your final thoughts, sir.
My final thought is just it's an ongoing process. It's not okay, I did this, and I'm done. It's an ongoing process because especially dealing with narcissistic people, gray rocking yourself, being able to
Gray rocking yourself.
Being able to identify when you see a situation coming, if you're going to gray rock it or you're going to stonewall it. This is an all ongoing process because a lot of times these narcissistic people, they're the same person, but they're in a different body. So they come with more game, less game, and you feel like, okay, I defeated this situation, I'm good. And then you run into another situation where this person, their game might be a little more slick. It's the same situation, but you got to be prepared and be armored up and have that knowledge to be prepared to see what you're going to do if it takes a turn in that direction. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't know what they're going to do. They think they know what they're going to do until they're confronted with a situation, and then they go back to what they're comfortable and what they're normal with.
Mm-hmm. I love it, brother. I love it. Guess what you just did, bro? You were on complete fire the whole time. Guess what you just did?
Brought Dallas, Texas in the building.
Dallas, Texas is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. The brother just gave me such a powerful revelation. Do you know what the narcissistic person tendencies, the person with tendencies, do you know what they're attracted to? They are, in fact, attracted to the narcissist in you. Do you know who the narcissist in you is? It's your unhealed wound. Your unhealed wounds act like narcissists because those wounds need supply. They need acknowledgement. They need approval. Right? They need that. And they look for somebody that's going to kowtow to their demands. The wounds in your spirit that have not been worked on mirror the narcissist. This is why Ross Rosenberg said the self-love deficient person is attracted to the narcissist. They are, in fact, mirror opposites, images of each other. See, when you don't heal the wound locks you in a perpetual state of victimhood mentality. This happened to me, and this is why I'm the way I am. And until somebody can hear me, see me, or understand me, right, then I won't be satisfied. But as the brother Reverend L just pointed out, you live your whole life gray rocking those wounds. The wounds are crying out to you, and you're giving them one word, monosyllabic answers. Do you see me? Yes. You know I'm here, right? Yes. Are we going to talk about what happened when we were younger? Eventually. We gray rocking ourselves. Very powerful analysis by that brother. Oh, I love that. I love that. Because listen, it's easy to talk deep, but it's much harder to walk deep. See, a lot of people don't want to walk deep. They want to talk deep, but they do not want to walk deep. And I'm not talking about walking your partner into the deep end. Walk your damn self into the deep end. A lot of people don't want to walk themselves into the deep end. They want to watch other people go under, but they don't want to go under. Gray rocking techniques, monosyllabic responses. Use short one-word answers like yes, no, or maybe. Flat effect. Keep your tone of voice and facial expressions neutral, avoiding any emotional cues that might engage the narcissist or the wound. Ooh, listen, listen. Minimal eye contact. Avoid sustained eye contact, which can be seen as a form of engagement or interest. When's the last time you looked at your wound? Compassionately, empathetically, lovingly. Oh no, it's too much to think about. I can't bring that up. It's too much. Avoidance leads to conflict, right? Avoiding personal details. Refrain from sharing personal information, opinions, or emotions that the narcissist could use against you or the wound. Have you ever had an unhealed wound tell you that's not what happened? I don't know who I'm ministering to tonight. Have you ever looked at something that happened in your spirit and said and told it what happened, and the wound said, no, that's not what happened. That's not the truth. See, people don't want to do the work. Like I said, they want to talk deep. They don't want to walk deep. Do you understand? No emotional reactions, bland topics, delayed responses, non-committal language. This is how we dealing with the inner wound. So you know how God designed relationships? He designed them to mirror. So you get who you are. You don't get what you deserve. You deserve what you worked on. And if you ain't walked deep, stop desiring the best of the best. It's really that simple. We've created a labyrinth of techniques and skills to navigate the toxicity in the world, in ourselves, and in our relationships. We ain't nothing but navigators. Ain't nobody ever sat down and just looked at it for what it was. I got this because I am this. This person showed up because I ain't showed out yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to get to the phone. When we come forward, the voice of reason gonna get the woman's voice in here. Let's get it. Third Eye, this is the first show we've ever done on gray rocking, though. And if you're really listening, I think there are a lot of things that have been said on this show that have never been said on any shows. So I love you and I appreciate you. But if you can't see the uniqueness of this show, maybe you shouldn't tune in until tomorrow. I think it's unfair to blanket license all narcissism shows as the same. I think each one has been quite unique. And although I love your tongue-in-cheek way of talking, I don't know if I like that. Attila, hold tight, I'm coming to you. Yeah, I thought that was a bit crude. I mean, I can take it, but I thought that was crude. And we love Third Eye for all of his off-kilter takes. You know, he always has some different kind of takes, and it's cool. It's cool. You know, we allow him to live sometimes. Nah, not even close, bro. You might be in a rut, though. Not even close. You even mentioned the narcissism topic on a show where we weren't even talking about it. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe if you offered a topic, a unique one, it might be a hit. You know, you're welcome to do so. But to critique without contribution, I don't know. I don't know. Please think of one and get back to me then. I will definitely appreciate your contribution. There go our first super chat of the day. I haven't checked the Cash App. I hope we had some love today. Thank you, Stanley.
Narcissists can act very healthy until they're triggered. And it's those triggers that reveal their true colors. They can no longer hide their deeper stuff once they get triggered. The masks come away and they come out. So some of the main triggers for a narcissist are perceived rejection. So if you reject them or say no to them, watch out. Not getting what they want, not getting enough attention, you're not feeding me enough, or anything that messes with their image. So what happens if they don't get what they want or they get triggered? Usually they go to anger and then they get cruel, abusive, they lash out, they say extremely hurtful things, and they can be very destructive. Just that one trigger can set off a whole lot of painful things, and they can do that and not even have a conscience about it. So you often don't know a person's a narcissist until one of their triggers get triggered. And then their true colors will come out. Narcissists are all about manipulating you to meet their needs. Narcissists don't know how to love people, they just know how to use people. Now in their minds, they're being loving. Because they're giving, they're kind in the early days, but what they're really doing is grooming you. They're giving to get. They're playing a long game where I'll give till I've got past their defenses and their guards, and they trust me, and then I'll get.
Oh, I'm sorry. This dude is cooking right now. But can I tell you? It's pretty much everybody. I'm sorry. It's pretty much everybody doing that. That's a tactic that everybody is on. Right? You can't say the nature of who I am is off limits unless you show me something of equal value. Same thing. Right? And you can hear people say it all the time. Well, all relationships are transactional. And that's a problem. That is a problem. Because our type of transactionalism comes with comparison, comes with constant evaluation, right? I think I have given more than you. I think I've given higher quality things than you have, right? This is the mindset of a toxic group of people, and this is how we're interacting. And we're expecting to have a meaningful relationship, right? I'm sorry. Now, this is why some of Dr. Ramani's work, she's even saying the numbers for narcissistic people with narcissism, is 1 in 6. Of everybody you know, it's 30 million people when you start looking at the dark triad, right? That's a lot of people. And I believe it might be even more. And I believe these so-called fairy tale people that are all good and special and loving and caring, I believe they are such in the minority that they might be, you might find a 4-leaf clover before you find one of them. They used to believe that securely attached people were 1/3 of the people. Now, researchers are now saying, no. Securely attached people are in the minority. And even securely attached people still have issues. Like, the securely attached person isn't Snow White or Prince Charming. They still have issues. And their attachment style can be affected by insecurely attached people. It's heavy stuff. Let me get Attila in here. Attila, Houston, Texas, talk to me.
All right, I'm not going to be long because I'm tired.
I got you.
But let me just say, this is brilliant. I'm loving the framing. I really like this concept of the idea that we gray walk ourselves. But I will say, in terms of attachment styles, I do feel like the concept of gray walking is harder for people who have anxious, preoccupied attachments to actually grasp.
Right.
Because you're trying to cling to your abuser and protect yourself at the same time.
Right.
You're clinging to your wounds and trying to heal at the same time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I think when you're talking about dealing with someone who is just completely resistant, be that a narcissist, sociopath, whatever, some of this is just facing reality and recognizing what you're dealing with.
Ooh.
And you might not be able to come to a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the resolution is no resolution.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Guess what you just did, young lady?
I'm right here in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, you know, we going to the Motor City. Detroit, let's get it. So, Andy. So
what?
I knew that was Joseph. I knew it was
Yeah.
Joseph because it sounds like Joseph produced the whole track.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, is this new shit out? Because I had never heard that one. Hey, thank you, brother. Brother Crutcher, thank you.
For a reduced sentence because Whitehead's been convicted of stealing from his parishioners. But the judge said no, calling Pollock a Robin Hood, not a Robin Hood.
2019, off of an album called Hero Dynasty
Yeah.
by Bubby Lewis,
Yeah.
featuring Joseph Lineberg.
He recorded that shit at his studio because I'm like, this is one of those tracks that maybe didn't make the album.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Killing Ricky Cobb II in July of 2023, the Hennepin County attorney decided to drop the charges doing.
Stockholm syndrome, yeah.
Remember Peyton on your home for 24/7 news, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com. The best nugs are now even better. Lindy's new saucy nugs take the nugs you love and sauce them up in bold flavors, including buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, and
Yo, you guys have done an absolutely amazing job on the like buttons. We're at 84 likes. Thank you. Really appreciate the likes. We only got one super chat. Let me see what we look like on the Cash App to see if we got any Cash Apps. I'll be right back. Well, we got 3 Cash Apps. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. If you're enjoying today's topic and you feel generous, please hit my Cash App, $Zo to show some love. Or you could hit the super chat, right? We only got one super chat, $4.99. We might as well just give all of that to YouTube. YouTube is going to take all of that. But we appreciate it. Netter, Netter, $Zo Netter. Thank you, Nazarene. I think, well, maybe I'll save that. No question. I got to call in this week. Absolutely, brother. I've been watching since Black Men Revealed on BET, man. Yo, I talked to Marcus King, man, this morning, bro. Marcus King is the one who put me on Black Men Revealed 2006 and in 2008. That show was executive produced by Marcus King and Jamie Foxx. It was on TV One. And what was interesting was season 1 of that television show, the host was comedian David Arnold. And they had me on an episode called Why He Won't Go to Church. And what was interesting was, you know, we play that back now in 2006, I'm hooping. Like I'm hooping. I'm still dunking. Boom, I'm hooping. It's athletics though. My son was a youngster. He was on the sidelines watching. That's what's crazy about them. And when we used to hoop, what's crazy was we hooped at this high school, Palisades High, in Palisades, California. You know, it's like Palisades is right next to Malibu. And what's crazy is all these entertainers, actors, movie directors, you know, comedians, all type of folk, and regular white folk would come up there and hoop. I remember one time we was up at the court and we hooping outside. And we hooping, like we really hooping. Malcolm Lee, movie director, you know, we hooping. And one time we hooping and David Arquette is driving up the street. He pulls over, sees us hooping, climbs the gate, takes off his shirt, start hooping with us. And I remember when Marcus told me, he was like, hey man, we doing Black Men Revealed. He was like, yo. He said, man, the way you be out here talking shit to these white folk and going in on them about history, because I would be like, all the brothers on one team and playing against the white folk. This is the Moors against the Crusaders. Marcus was like, man, the way you be going in on these white people. He said, man, when you do this church show for Black Men Revealed, he said, man, act the way you act out here. Don't hold back. And when I got on that, that's exactly what I did. I acted a fool. Reverend L. Ratchet, thank you, brother. I appreciate the contribution.
Last clip.
Talk about this idea of being triggered. And I'd really like for us to think about a different way about this idea of being triggered. So I know that there's a lot of, pushback and arguing on this term triggered, right? It feels like it's a bit overused. And even though it makes sense, and I think it obviously hits the point, and if it's your word, keep using it. I'm not going to stop you. I actually think it's a little too simple for what happens to survivors of narcissistic abuse. The term as it exists is meant to reflect the internal and sometimes external response a person may have to a situation, place, or person that is unsettling. It's a discomfort, a distress, sympathetic nervous system sort of bang that may feel disproportionate unless you've had a more traumatic or problematic experience with that situation, place, or person that would explain that ongoing sort of reactivity a person would have to that situation. A more apt metaphor to me, though, instead of saying triggered, is that a person feels plucked, like a guitar string. When you're made to encounter a situation that is evocative of your narcissistic situation, a place, or hearing yelling, gaslighting, having someone overwhelm you with words, you may feel as though you are sort of plucked and continue to vibrate like a guitar string would or a harp string would for a while. It's not as simple as, I just ran into a mutual friend of my narcissistically abusive ex, and I felt funny, and then I went about my day, and I felt triggered, and I went about my day. Or I saw my ex and a new partner at a crowded store and got out before they could see me. That vibration right after you have one of those experiences, and it can be any kind of plucky experience, being gaslighted, late night texts coming into a new partner's phone, experiencing the silent treatment from someone, that string continues to vibrate. You don't just get over it. It reverberates for a while, and that doesn't feel good. It can leave you questioning yourself. When am I going to get over this? You actually may very well be over it. But these hurts, these really deeply nervous system held hurts, especially if they were repeated betrayals or behaviors that you encountered, they're not things that we release that easily. They're threats. They hurt us. So after the initial triggering experience, as it were, that pluck, that vibrating string may be around for a minute. It can leave lots of survivors wondering, am I ever going to get past this? Yes, you are. But like I said, this stuff really gets under our skin. And you can greet these moments with self-compassion. And when your strings get plucked, and sometimes you might feel they're just getting strummed, give yourself a minute to recover. Take a break, Give yourself a breather. Let the vibrating stop. Life after relational trauma and betrayal trauma can be very complicated. When people have what I'm going to call an episodic trauma, being attacked in a parking lot, experiencing a natural disaster, these traumas are extraordinarily painful. However, the triggers or the things that pluck our strings, they almost feel more apparent, right? A time of year, a location, a time of day. With relationship and betrayal trauma, it can get a lot more complicated because what may seem like ordinary experiences to others can be moments that are very unsettling. And because relational traumas aren't as clear-cut, there may even be judgment from the world at large when you kind of have this sort of sense of being plucked and this sort of reaction, a sort of, aren't you still making too big a deal of this? You aren't. These relational and betrayal hurts, they're held for a long time. They were very threatening to us at one time. But the string does keep vibrating for a while, so don't judge it. At those times, be nice to yourself. Recognize that just like that guitar string, that vibrating will stop, and you will quiet again. Perhaps over time, that pluck will be smaller. The string will be tighter.
Man, I love Dr. Romani, man. She be cooking. Many of us are being plucked, or at least we feel like it, every day. And most of us do not understand or know how, to quiet the vibration of that pluck down, right? And especially if we feel like someone who's close to us, family, lover, friends, co-workers, we may have been plucked yesterday and come back to the environment the next day, and the vibration of the initial pluck may still be reverberating, right? Heavy stuff, plucked or triggered, as she says. And so gray rocking, which is tonight's topic, seems like a useful tool. However, she gave us the caveat in the first hour and said, you can't gray rock forever. Right? This is a Band-Aid. I keep telling you guys, relationships are inherently spiritual. Until you do the spiritual work, you're going to be using Band-Aids like gray rocking. And I will say this again. Don't get caught up on the term narcissist. I believe everybody's gray rocking. Yellow rocking. Look at yellow rocking. And I'm gonna go to Kenny, but look at yellow rocking. Do we not tell people who have kids together? They gave the whole yellow rocking strategy right here. People who have a problematic, troublesome, conflictual, dysfunctional relationship, this is how you should deal. Yellow rock. Polite boundaries. Maintain politeness while setting clear boundaries, such as saying, I'm not comfortable discussing that. Hey, I'm dealing with my baby mama, or I'm dealing with my baby father. Don't ask me if I'm dating. Right? Affirmative neutrality. Use affirmative yet neutral phrases like I understand without agreeing or disagreeing. Right? Redirecting conversation. People are doing this now in their intimate right now. Redirect conversations, politely steer conversations to less personal or emotionally charged topics. Agreement without engagement. Acknowledgement without engagement. Acknowledge what the narcissist says with phrases like I see or interesting without offering personal opinions. We are doing this whether the person is a narcissist or not. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, they blow this whole narcissism thing out the water. This is what we're doing when we're dealing with a baby mama or a baby daddy. Tell me I'm lying. Brief, polite excuses. If you need to exit a conversation, use brief, polite excuses like, I have to go now, without elaboration. Right? Scheduled interactions. Are we not doing that, baby mamas, baby daddies? We yellow rocking each other. Limit interactions to scheduled times, making it clear that your availability is controlled and limited. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is this is framed as, yo, this is a lighter version of gray rocking, and this is what you use to cause the narcissist to become disinterested. What I'm saying is we are doing this to each other whether we are clinically diagnosed as narcissist or people with just narcissistic tendencies. We are doing this anyway. When people get tired of relationships, all of this is happening. When relationship entropy jumps into play, when relationship obsolescence kicks in, we are doing this anyway. Close-ended questions. When you need to ask questions, use close-ended ones that require minimal elaboration from the narcissist, right? Professionalism. Treat the interaction like a professional exchange, keeping the tone formal and distant. It doesn't matter if you're a narcissist or not. We are gray rocking when we tired of each other. Tell me, somebody call in and tell me I'm lying. Emotional detachment, right? Combine politeness with emotional detachment, ensuring that your responses are warm but not inviting further personal engagement. When I come forward, I promise you, we're gonna go to my brother Kenny, because I know he got something for us. Kenny Blessed from Detroit, Michigan. Man, tell me that ain't happening. Y'all tell me that's not happening. Let me take a quick break. I'm gonna go over here and see what we did on the Cash App, if we did any more. This is true, bruh. KZell, George, Barberry, Question H. I think I got those names right. Thank you for the Cash Apps. And absolutely, no 666-777 people. I don't know. What? Hellboy Cupid. What does that mean? Is used to set boundaries in my case. I hear you. Mad love to everybody on those Cash Apps. No doubt. Apple got AirPod. Okay. To see thoughts. Okay. What up, Keith McGee? What's good, Zoe? Much love. Same to you, fam. Appreciate y'all. Remember that drunk from that clone Tyrone? Yes. Telepathy is real. Okay. Miss JB. Hey, Miss JB, you would have loved tonight's topic. Miss JB said, what's the Cash App? Can somebody at Miss JB, my Cash App? Miss JB, you would have loved tonight. Miss JB, you going to be at the Cigar Lounge? I'm going to be at the Cigar Lounge tonight. Tonight, I know you would have called in, Miss JB. I promise you, you would have called in tonight. I know you would have called in. Gemini, oh yeah, you would have called in for this one. This one was fire. Live in 20 seconds. Here we go. You would have definitely called in. Hey, what y'all know about my playlist tonight? Come on. See, hey, my music bag is deep. I could take y'all on a whole nother ride if you wanted to. Hey man, you got that Freddie Jokum winding road? I could take y'all. Listen, man, I could take y'all on a ride if you really wanted to go on a ride. The voice of reason. Sometimes I say, you know what? Let's get rid of the words. Let's get rid of the words, right? Listen, man. What y'all want to do? Man, I could take y'all somewhere where we could just sit back and just contemplate life on it. Which I don't think y'all know about this. Have you ever been up at 3 a.m. driving 95 miles an hour? I have. The voice of reason gonna hit your soul. Come on. My playlist is my co-host. Let me get my final caller up in here. My brother Kenny Bless, Detroit, Michigan in the building. Come on in here, man.
What's up, brothers? How you doing?
You had to laugh at me, man. It's okay, man. Get in here, man. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
I don't have too much. You said a whole lot prior to the call. You know, you touched on a lot of everything, you know, for real. I feel like gray rocking is the more immature way of responding, but yellow rocking is a little more advanced. People with wisdom choose yellow rocking in relationships that are pretty harmful, that they can't really get out of, either due to like baggage or, you know, just certain things that may, you know, things that you may have to really contemplate. You can't really just leave if you were tied to certain obligations, whether you're married, kids, house together, you just share a bunch of responsibilities together. It's kind of hard to break. So just trying to keep the peace is the best way to self-soothe, self-regulate, and create those boundaries for yourself to protect your inner peace. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. I ain't saying it's true or not, but I feel that's a great survival tactic for people who are going through some toxicity in their relationships, whether it's them playing a part or, you know, having a narcissist counterpart, whoever it is, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I feel like it is a great tactic to use until you mature and are safe and comfortable enough to get away from it completely. Because I think if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you must get away. And you said in the last, I think it was the last night's topic. It was like run. It was so funny.
Right.
But it's very important. But sometimes you got to ease your way through. You got to mature and grow and heal and things like that. Because you always say too that relationships are just work.
Yeah.
You know, you leave a relationship, you haven't fixed anything, you're going to carry it into the next one.
Right. No, I totally agree with you, brother. And guess what you just did for the voice of reason?
Motown in the building.
Motown is in the building. If you want to bring your town in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We appreciate all the callers who call in. But let me just tell y'all, please understand, gray rocking, if you're dealing with a clinically diagnosed narcissist, yes, use gray rocking. Right? Sure. Expect that there will be repercussions for sure, but use it, right? If you have a child with a clinically diagnosed narcissist, yes, use yellow rocking and gray rocking. All that's great. But please understand, all of these techniques are really survival mode. Kenny said something very profound. He said, protect your peace. When you become peace, it does not need to be protected. What many of us are doing is protecting our quiet. We haven't become peaceful internally. If you look at a Muslim, many people say the word Muslim means to submit to the will of Allah. But if you understand Arabic, right? The ancient Arabic, right? Mu, one who is salama. The root word of Muslim is salama, one who is peace, right? Do you understand? Muslim, the religion, al-Islam, the peace. Do you understand? Become peace. Many of us don't know how to do that. All we know how to do is be living, walking representatives of someone with MPD, narcissistic personality disorder, because we're getters. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Give me peace. Give me acknowledgement. Give me respect. Do you understand? Where there is an unhealed wound, there is a beggar. I'm sorry. We can go through all these techniques and this is how you survive, this is how you maneuver, this is how you navigate. But until you become what you demand of others, you're going to be protecting quiet, not peace, because it's going to be fleeting. And you don't have to agree with me. You don't. But, I start the conversations. It's your job to finish them. Let's continue these conversations. Let's continue these talks. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'm going to be back here tomorrow with another slapper like I do. The voice of reason, I'm out till tomorrow. This shit was fire. Great show tonight. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'll see y'all tomorrow with another one. Number love. Deuces.